Alright, good evening ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to what is actually my first proper casting of a Captain's Mode game in a very long time. So I am hugely excited. You can see we've even got our own very special overlay sorted out today. This is match 3 of Season 7 of our in-house King of the Hill game. Basically, for anyone who's not familiar, the way this works is everybody can challenge. If you challenge, then you and the King have to draft a team of players out of the 10 people we'll have available, and then you play a Captain's Mode game. Often hard fought. We've got Immortals up for grabs at the end, and just new this season we're giving away a new rare every single week to one of the challenges, so it's pretty tense. Looking at who we've got in the lobbies today, the King at the moment is Kickapew, who's won the first 2 games of this season, and he's been challenged by Skyfaller. Interesting thing to note, they're both letting somebody else draft for them. Let's have a look. Davidy is drafting for Kick, and True is drafting for Skyfaller, so this is actually a bit more of a classic matchup than it at first appears, because Davidy and True have drafted together about 1 million times. So at the stage right now, we're just getting to the close of the first round of banning. There we go, and let's have a talk about what we're seeing here. First of all, the Beastmaster, Davidy's first ban. That was definitely a target ban against Shadow Man, although definitely something you could expect to see banned an awful lot in the final day of the Manila Major, which is tomorrow. He's a top tier hero at the moment, and Shadow Man plays him incredibly well in the offlane. AA also a simple top tier pick. A lot of people play him well as well. I'm not sure if there's someone that Davidy's particularly targeting with that one though. And over on True God's side, banned out the Tide Hunter. If anybody was watching the second game, which was played just before this, I was playing that game and we actually had a pretty rocking time and I was on Tide. Did I whiff a Ravage? I think I did a couple of unnecessary Ravages, a couple of too deep Ravages, but on the whole pretty good and sufficient to be kicked out by True. Slardar also banned, not too much to say about that. You know, tanky melee heroes are very big in the current meta. There's a lot of close fighting, so the armor effect that Slardar's ult gives is very important in addition to the AoE stun. But the picks, here we go. Dazzle picked up first by Davidy, very strong first round pick. Get one of your supports out of the way, gives a lot of support to one of your cores, and of course huge armor differential between the teams, which as I said counts for an awful lot in a meta that has a lot of melee combat. True on the other hand picking up Lifestealer first of all. I don't know what to say here. It's one of the best heroes in this meta because of the changes to Armlet, now giving 10 armor when it's active. That makes Lifestealer in a lot of situations basically unkillable, particularly with the new Echo Saber. So a very classic pickup there, and also the Bane, which I think was probably picked up more as a way to make sure that Davidy didn't get it, because Bane works very well against Lifestealer, with Nightmare being able to lock him down even through his magic immunity, Rage. So yeah, very good pickup there on the Bane. Unfortunately, that did leave Davidy the Axe. Now the great thing about Axe is Berserker's Call will also go through Rage, meaning that Lifestealer can be brought down for an incredibly long time. Just going to quickly check the duration on that. 3.2 seconds off the Axe. The other great thing about Axe is that you can you naturally build a Vanguard, or often do, which now can be upgraded straight into an Abyssal Blade, which also is locked down, that goes through Rage, meaning that Axe can lock down Lifestealer while he's raged in melee range for around 5 seconds. I think over 5 seconds in total if he's got the Abyssal. And that is exactly what you need for Lifestealer. You need to be able to stop him attacking while he's got that magic immunity and attack speed, and actually kill him before he can heal all that life back with Feast. So great pickups there. I think it was a very good block pick on the Bane, but of course the Bane is going to be useful for True regardless. We haven't seen the main cores coming out of Dire yet, but they will come, and whoever they are, it's going to need to be someone that can deal with Bane. I'm wondering in fact if we're going to see a Slark pickup. I'd be very surprised if we don't see it banned, because Slark would be perfect against Bane, because of course he can purge a lot of disables off himself using Dark Pact. So that's a great way to evade that lockdown. Unfortunately, we do of course have a round of banning before then, and I think Slark is going to get banned, being one of Davidy's favourite heroes, one of Shadow Man's favourite heroes, and just generally another top tier pick. Lion banned out by True. Lion's always good, so like I feel I don't need to say too much on this. Mana drain, lots of lockdown, beautiful nuke. And also the Disruptor, one of my favourite supports. Huge lockdown potential, amazing kill potential. The only downside really on Disruptor is it's very hard to make sure he's got sufficient levels. But Disruptor would have been a great combo with the Axe and Dazzle. You can glimpse back into a Berserker's Call, things like that.
10 seconds remaining.
Now the interesting thing here is Davidy's banned Tinker. That's a classic
5
true
seconds
mid-hero. I think now he's going to be forced to ban the Slark, but he won't want to because he'll want to pick it.
Reserve time.
And that's what we're seeing this hesitation about now. I'm reasonably sure. What I would probably... I'm trying to think. I mean, Slark wouldn't be the easiest pickup, of course, for True, because he does already have the Lifestealer. It would force him into an unusual lading situation, since Slark and Lifestealer do classically go together. And Davedy bans a Venomancer. That I was not expecting. I was thinking we'd be seeing either another one of True's classic mids, say the Invoker, something like that, or, as I mentioned, the Slark. But no, he's going to leave Slark in the pool, ban out the Veno, and that makes me think that Davidy's actually thinking more aggressively than defensively. What he's looking to do right now is pick a team, starting with the Dazzle and the Axe, that will be able to dive behind towers and take them, starting from minute 1. True, I think, sees that, and so he picks up the Spirit Breaker, a hero with great mobility, very, very able to get around the map, make sure there's quick responses if somebody's getting ganked.
10 seconds
Also great at counter-initiating. If they manage to kill the Axe, Spirit Breaker is great to make sure they also get the Dazzle and anybody else who's in that lane. And also, final thing to say about Spirit Breaker, you've got Lifestealer as well. So you've got the classic Nake's Bomb, where Lifestealer infests Spirit Breaker charges to a lane, and suddenly it's a 2-person charge, which is more than twice as good, because Lifestealer's even better than Spirit Breaker in actual melee combat. Winter Wyvern picked up by Dire. The only reason I sound surprised on that, because it is a great hero, is Ray, one of our Wave Staunch members, is not playing this game. He's busy tonight, I believe, and he is generally the classic Winter Wyvern player. He absolutely loves that. Now I'm gonna throw a bit of a blind guess here and say I think it'll be Kaz who will be taking the Winter Wyvern. Kickapew, I'm expecting, will be on the Axe again. He played Axe in the previous game, his second victory. That was a very fun game. To briefly touch on that while we wait for the draft, we had Axe in an aggressive try. I was tied solo safe, and then we had Spectre mid, and it was just so much face rushing the enemy. It was great fun. True picks up Witch Doctor, meaning that we're going to be seeing a core Spirit Breaker played in the off lane. It also means we've got Witch Doctor and Bane as a support duo there, who will likely be spending the first few, maybe 5-10 minutes with Lifestealer, and then focusing on ganking. They are a very strong ganking pair between the two of them, with or without a Spirit Breaker charge on top. The one thing I would say though is it leaves them without the kind of lockdown you would want against fast-moving, agile heroes like, say, a Weaver, because of course you can Nightmare using Bane. Sorry, I need to make sure I need to make sure I'm using the right words here. I think I called Fiend's Grip Nightmare earlier. You can Nightmare with Bane, but then you can't right-click the hero you've Nightmared, because that's how Nightmare works. Witch Doctor Stun is also, let's say, semi-reliable, and Spirit Breaker's Bash, it's reliable, and you can choose who you charge, but the bash duration isn't very long. So the lockdown is, from that point on, is kind of chance-based, whether or not you proc it in melee combat. So they don't have the kind of lockdown immediately that I would want against a Storm Spirit, a Weaver, even maybe an Invoker, one of those agile heroes. Although they do have a lot of semi-reliable lockdowns, so they're not doing terribly. And of course, they do have the Bane's Fiend Grip. It's just going to be on cooldown most of the time. Both teams chewing into their reserve time. It's like they know that I'm casting and they really want to make it difficult for me, which I think I'm going to accuse them of doing. Razor picked up by Davedy, along with the Winter Wyvern. This does kind of support the idea I was raising earlier, that they're going to try and outpush True's team and quite simply make his life hell by taking towers. Probably they're going to hope for one within the first 10 minutes of the game, and they're certainly going to hope for all of the tier 1s within the first 20. Razor is a great pick for that, great wave clear, very good at diving as he's quite tanky and very fast, and good at dealing with the one core that you'll often have in a lane if the enemy aren't responding to it with static link. The downside for Razor is his great tool for taking towers requires that he get Aghanim Scepter, so that his ult is able to actually hit them. It's going to be a little iffy there. But we've got enough here to talk about the combos that we're going to be seeing out of Dire, and they do look very, very strong. They're going to have massive armor coming out of Dazzle, Axe, and Razor, who just naturally have that. They're going to have great lockdown potential. As I said, Axe may or may not go into the Abyssal Blade. I think they're probably going to be hoping to end the game before that becomes relevant. Over on Radiant, great kill potential, great damage, a fair amount of sustain, but they're definitely a team that's going to be more looking to just keep their cores alive and farm at this stage. Lifestealer will outcarry pretty much everything that the Dire can offer. I should mention, of course, Winter Wyvern's ult is another form of lockdown which will pierce magic immunity. So in addition to Axe's Call, and in addition to the possibility of him getting the Abyssal Blade, Winter Wyvern will also be able to Winter's Curse the Lifestealer, causing his own teammates to attack him, but also making sure that he can't attack the Dire, which will be great. Like in an Alchemist banned in the last round of bans, I think both teams realise that we're still missing a position 1. Well, okay, Dire are missing a position 1. They go for Terrorblade. Great push there, but also more late game than you would generally expect, and a very good counter to Nake's, as Nake's whole deal is keeping himself on full health, and Terrorblade's whole deal in combat is taking someone from full health down to low health in an instant with his ult. So I like that a lot, especially Terrorblade plus Axe, because you can use Terrorblade to bring someone low, and then Axe Culling Blade to finish. And the last pick of the game is the classic true Invoker, who's going to be going mid for Radiant. So those are your teams, ladies and gentlemen. It does look like we might be loading in, and yes, we are, and we've missed the first minute. The teams are ready for a fight, and we've got nasty lag. But it looks like Razor and Invoker picked up the runes. That's the top for Dire, bot for Radiant, and I'm semi-confident saying that we are actually in. Looks like we're going to have a bit more load in lag. But yeah, we seem to be pretty good. So let's have a look at the lane. Spirit Breaker, and then a defensive try for the Radiant. Nothing too shocking there. In fact, no, I should introduce the teams and hope we don't miss first blood. We've got Skyfaller with an awful lot of regen and a stout shield, taking the off lane for Radiant. True, of course, playing Invoker mid. Also a lot of regen, but he's gone for an early boot of haste as well, and then demanded 2 tangos from his team. He's going to have a lot of kill potential. Down on the bot lane, we've got Brack. I'm doing Radiant. We've got K-Drummer on the Bane. Shadow Man, I was expecting that on the position 1 Lifestealer. And finally, Crucifixion on Witch Doctor. And they are going to be having a actually fairly difficult time, I think, against Kickapew on the Axe and Brack on the Tassel. Who Dire are going to be running as an aggressive duel. Good way to counter the Lifestealer, I think. Just make sure his farm is a little bit less secure for the first few minutes. But unfortunately, Brack does get open wounds cast on him, and this is looking very, very bad. First blood goes down to Crucifixion on the Witch Doctor. And they may be rethinking that tri-lane completely. In fact, Kickapew does get a last hit there, but I'm wondering whether they might want to leave him solo and actually just get more levels and beat the Lifestealer out that way. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, he is still roughly equal with the Lifestealer, despite Lifestealer having the XP from the kill, so I do kind of think he might do better solo. The kill potential on Radiant is just too high at the moment for them to really have a chance to do what they want to do, which is skip right behind the wave here and get more kills. Another open wound on Brack. There's going to be a Sunstrike from Invoker as well for the finish, and that's 2 kills in as many minutes. It's 154 down on the bot lane, and that does not look good for Dire. But let's get on with the introductions. We've got Gimli taking the Razor mid. He's gone for the Magic Stick, which is a very smart choice against the Invoker, who will... Don't know if you need it quite that early, but he has already got some charges on it, and it will be keeping him alive. Still looks like he's quite far away from the bottle, though, and with the regen he's got on him, I hope he's still going for it. I hope he's not doing something crazy. And we do see Dire moving Dazzle up to top lane, so I'm glad to see that. Meanwhile, we've got Kazadite Eidos taking, or Kaz, let's call him Kaz, taking the Winter Wyvern, putting down a lane ward there, and David E. Stevenson on the Terrorblade. Not a hero I've actually ever seen him play before, so I'm going to be curious to see what happens there. Kaz uses his flying vision to spot out Skyfaller moving through the trees. Gotta love the new map for showing the route there with the right angles. And Brack is now up top as well. He will have been spotted out by the Radiant Ward, so he's not going to be able to surprise Spirit Breaker. But hopefully Kickapew's already level 3 since we left him at level 1. So hopefully that will be able to work out slightly better for the Dire, because those 2 early kills are going to hurt a lot, not least because Shadow Man is already 600 gold in. Open wound on Kick. This might be a little bit bold. Kick can, of course, pop Berserker's Call purely for the armor there. Basically stops Shadow Man from inflicting any real damage. Haste Rune spotted out by the Radiant support is going to be picked up by K. Now, I've got to wonder whether they're going to look for a mid-kill with this. I think they are. Invoker will be calling for it. Gimli is also being charged from top lane. This is going to be a dead Razor, I think. Brain Sap used. They're not going to bother with the Nightmare because they don't want to have to wait around for it to wear off. They just right-click him down, and that was K-Drama who got the kill. 700 gold for him. Nice start for a support. Invoker, of course, got the kill on bottom, so I doubt we'll be begrudging that too much. And Courier is coming out to him with not a bottle. Wraithband and a Windlace. No bottle gaming seems to be the way. Let's have a quick look at those starting items. Fairly standard. Oh, Gimli comes back into the lane, full mana. Got a bit more fountain regen on him and just immediately pops the harass onto Invoker. He's a little bit mad. True God does get an eye up the hill. They're both going to be looking for the runes, and it looks like Invoker's going to get that very nice regen waiting for him top, which is going to make him twice as lethal. Meanwhile, a good push coming out from the Dire up on top lane, getting huge damage down on the tower. Unfortunately, Invoker manages to finish off Axe down on the bot lane, making that not exactly a complete trade, but it looks like with the massive power of Terrorblade with Illusions and Metamorphosis, they're actually going to be able to take this entire tower. David E. Stevenson popping a quick tango there to keep himself high, but he can send those Illusions down the lane, and there's really nothing that Skyfaller can do about it. So, I mean, that is why I was a bit surprised when I saw him charge in the mid. I kind of think that with Nightmare and careful positioning, maybe a smoke, maybe sending the Witch Doctor in even, they could have got that kill without having to leave, without Spirit Breaker having to leave lane. Because I'm a big Spirit Breaker player, and I'm always against him leaving before he's 6, unless there is a very good reason, like a kill that you absolutely cannot get. So I'm a little bit suspicious there. Kickapew going deep onto Shadow Man here with the supports coming in as well. Lots of damage going down on Shadow Man. Unfortunately, they don't manage to get any of the important lockdown they need, but they do have the damage. Huge range coming out from Winter Wyvern. I really need to learn these heroes' skill names. Arctic Burn. Okay, that's the thing that gives him range and flight. I'll remember that. Meanwhile, we do have a Spirit Breaker charge coming in from Skyfaller. Again, though, he's level 4. Okay, he's got 4. But yeah, people expect a little bit too much of early Spirit Breaker, in my opinion. He needs to really get his 6 to do the things you're expecting him to do. Shadow Man immediately back in lane looking for kills. And it's 4-1, not where the Dire want it to be. But that one was Lifestealer, which is exactly what they want. Phase Boots up on Shadow Man. Crucifixion looks like he's probably still just making mana boots. K-Drama probably doing the same. Skyfaller having to walk all the way back to base. Meanwhile, Terrorblade just farming up the top lane. This is the problem here for Radiant. The fact that they are doing honestly nothing to shut down Davide, who's already got, let's see, Treads and Orb of Venom. Okay, not as farmed as I was afraid he might be, but pretty farmed. Big fight going on bottom as Brack brought hugely low here, and there's already a charge coming in here, which is going to, unfortunately, cause a bit of a problem for him. The charge redirects. Not entirely sure what happened there. Kickapew managing to get out. I would have expected him to get charged ahead of that, but maybe Dazzle was still alive and ate the charge. This ward, by the way, for Dire has been doing really, really great work. Absolutely wonderful. Blocking up one of the pool camps. Probably not the camp you want to pop up, but it certainly would have been dewarded if this camp had been blocked, and this has given them great vision of a lot of important movement near the tier 1 tower on Radiant. Razor with a double damage rune can be very, very dangerous if he can get static link up for a little while beforehand, but I'm not sure they're going to be doing that. Instead, it looks like David E is directing his team to group up on the mid, maybe try and push that down into the Invoker, ideally getting a kill as well. Can't guarantee it, of course. Gimli looking for that static link, but can't go too deep for it. Now, Radiant have a lot of heroes sitting in base right now. They're going to be wondering what lane to go out to, where to go for a kill. David E is not visible to the Spirit Breaker, which is damn good, as he is almost dead. Going to TP home, in fact. Kaz getting some nice wards out there for Dire. Going to keep the top rune under vision. Unfortunately, I do think... I think their wards are in the wrong place simply because they've already got the tier 1 down up on top lane. They need wards near the objectives they actually want to take. They don't have vision on bot rune. They don't have vision in the enemy jungle. They don't have vision behind the tier 1 tower mid. Lots of places they could do with vision here. They're not going to have it. Gimli going to be messing around on mid. Going to give an Invoker a deny on the Forge Spirit there. And it looks like a big push going to happen on bottom. Infest there. Coming out from Shadow Man. He's in one of the creeps. Kickapew going to have to run though. Gets open wounds. He's going to drop the Culling Blade, and there's a kill. Beautiful use of the armor bonus there to make sure he didn't die, despite being open wounds, which almost got the Lifestealer to kill. Kick getting healed up there by Winter Wyvern, and it looks like we've got Davedy wanting to help out on this bot push. He will have been spotted out by the Radiant Wards, but he's going to go deep in here, going to find Crucifixion, drop the slow. How much damage does Davedy do? I doubt it's enough. There's TP's coming out all around him as well, and he's running straight at K-Drummer. That seems a little bit sketchy, although K-Drummer is level 5, so they don't have to worry about Fiend Script just yet, but a big rotation here from True God, and this is way too deep for Dire. Kickapew taking a lot of harass here. Going to take the heal from Kaz, but there's a Sunstrike there that can still do damage. It's only physical immunity. Davedy getting charged and going toe-to-toe with Shadow Man. He does have his ult, but unfortunately, is he going to be stunned when he needs to use it? Oh, that was painful. Davedy down for Dire. No kills in return.
Radiant's bottom tower
And
is under attack.
what's your cooldown on open wounds? 8 seconds. This is bad. This is very bad for Dire. Brack being taken low, and when's the next charge? I think it was just used. Yeah, still another 8 seconds. I think they can back off that. Oh, but they found another kill possibly in the mid. It's Gimli going deep here. I appreciate he wants to get that Skyfaller kill. Oh, and they do have Terrorblade coming in as well. Okay, that's a kill there on Spirit Breaker, so they've at least managed to go 2 for 1 now, as Witch Doctor also falls. Gimli pops his ult, looking for more kills. Ideally wants a core, but he's not quite fast enough, and he's rotating the wrong way. He's going to take the Forged Spirit instead. Now, let's have a quick look at item builds, as I think we're going to be... I used to think that Dire were just going to be going early, but with the Terrorblade pickup, Terrorblade's not too bad late. They may be going later than I expected. So on Dire, we've got, mainly early items. Look, we're going to have a mech coming out on Gimli. Oh, we get a big dive below the T1. Shadow Man looking to take out Brack, but unfortunately rendered immune to physical damage. We do have the charge coming in on Kickapew at the same time. Shadow Man looking to just retreat into the jungle. Brack needs to be very careful about where he walks here. Davedy calling for the team to just focus on the tower. Unfortunately, Radiant are just coming in here. Shadow Man ready to drop something. Oh, Davedy. Davedy gets nightmared and going to get open wound as well. Does a nice switch there on the Shadow Man, but unfortunately Lifestealer can just heal all that health back up. Kickapew coming in, does manage to get the Lifestealer kill with a beautiful cunning blade. He's diving deep. He actually might be able to turn this for Dire here as he looks for one more kill on Kickapew. Charged, comes down on Brack, does catch Kickapew as well, just going to slow it down, but Gimli with a beautiful static field there manages to get the kill. That's 3 for nothing. And of course, Dire were behind earlier, so this is exactly where they want to be. Does look like True is going to be going hard on mid at the same time. I'm wondering if Davedy decides they just keep going on this bot lane and go for a tier 2 in exchange. Davedy gets the perfect rune, rejects him right up to full health. He actually survived that fight. Looking at who I'm going to give my MVP here, and I honestly think it has to be Kick. He's played Axe in both matches and just done astoundingly well, not only at doing damage and getting kills, using Cunning Blade to, I think I saw him fluff 1 in the first match, but otherwise very, very well. But also keeping his carries alive, using Berserker's Call at the right time to get the aggro off. That is a kind of classic WoW taunt. I almost wish there were more in the games, but then Axe wouldn't be quite so unique, I suppose. Looks like they're actually going to try hard on Invoker. They've got the cooldown. But he can just... that wasn't the cool, sorry. Invoker was TPing, and he just TP'd out. But they did manage to get the T2 bot. Gimli, in fact, still feeling confident to farm down here. He needs to get back, son. Yep, he's running. And Dire suddenly looking a lot more in control of this game. They're playing beautifully.
Just what the
Terrorblade's actually getting a huge number of kills. How's he doing? 1, 1, and 3.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
With an Ogre Club on the way, I assume that's a BKB, so he can just sit still and just keep mashing at towers without worrying too much about lockdown and cooldown. Just going to zoom out a little bit here as we see Radiant getting ready to jump in. There's a smoke coming down. Shadowman choosing not to infest the Spirit Breaker, which I think might have been the better option here. He smoked straight past the illusion, which of course does not block the, does not burst smoke. K-Drummer as well there. Oh, K-Drummer with an Invis rune, in fact. He's able to go a lot deeper, possibly pick up the Brack. The Dazzle would be a very nice early kill to start off this engagement. Oh, Shadow Graves himself, possibly a bit early as Kickapew manages to go in and catch K-Drummer, removing the possibility of a Fiend's Grip for just now. Yeah, K-Drummer is finished off. Shadowman forced to TP out, Rage TP, while they leave a Spirit Breaker to die as well, and that's another 2 kills for the Dire. This might be the first loss for iTrueGod in quite a long time. Kickapew with a beautiful blink catch there. Earning his MVP points over and over again, and this is going to be the tier 1 mid. What did I say? I said Dire wanted to get at least 1 tower within 10 minutes. I think they actually managed to get 2, maybe, I think 2. And I said they wanted all T1s down before 20. They managed to get it down at 1330. They're looking very good to take a second tier 2 on top of that. And Axe, only 800 gold away from his blade mail, so this is looking great. Quick shout out to Kick as well for being a player who used to play an awful lot on the wave. I think has been playing a lot of CSGO over the last 6 months, but it's great to see him back. And does not seem to have lost his skills. I, of course, have been kind of out of the Dota scene as well, so it's quite possible he's been playing extensively over the last 6 months, and I just did him a great disservice. Crucifixion wanting to hang around here. I don't think that's a wise move. David microing all of his illusions straight onto the tower, and they're going to do huge damage right off the bat, and Radiant really don't have an answer to that. They can, they're ready to go now, but by now, Dire have whisked themselves away into the trees. Going to hop up the net worth. Still remembering all the old tricks, and it's not a surprise to see True up at the top, but Shadowman sitting down at 3.5k below all 3 of the Dire cores is not that great for Radiant. Looks like Kick is looking very seriously on a kill on Shadowman, but he'd have to do a very blind blink, doesn't manage to catch it. I think he's trying to stay out of vision, but he's not, unfortunately. So he needs to just go farm. And it's actually kind of shocking to look at this level and see that Axe, who's been doing great, is only level 8. Let's have a quick look at how people are doing. 11 on Invoker, other than that, generally around 6, 7-ish on the Radiant. 9 on the Razor, other than that, about 8, 7-ish on the Dire. So the XP actually looking fairly even, with obviously a huge spike towards True, but an overall trend towards Dire. The goal, on the other hand, is going to be much more in favour of the Dire. Over, what's that, almost 7.5k. And that's only 50 minutes into the game. That's half of the lead, which classically would mean that it's irreconcilable. There's never been a comeback in Dota where the number of minutes you have gone into the game, that's how many 1,000 XP or gold ahead you are. So they're 7.5 right now. At 50 minutes into the game, that is halfway to being where they need to be totally in control. Radiant, in the meantime, are generally grouping up behind the Lifestealer bottom. Kind of hope somebody ganks him, but unfortunately, again, this wonderful Dire Observer Ward giving them so much vision. So nobody's going to go down there, so that's a very good move from Dire. They don't risk anything in a foolhardy gank, he says, as Dire smoke up and look to gank. But yeah, they're ganking as 5. They've got the vision in. This is exactly what you want. Going to zoom out to take a look at this. Oh, and they leave bottom as the Observer goes down. I think they saw the Forged Spirit mid and want to catch the Invoker, but that is not wise. This may be a wasted smoke. Davide, ooh, are they going to catch this? Let's have a look at that smoke cooldown. They've only got about a quarter of the time left, and they are desperately trying to catch this Invoker up on top lane. There he is. They burst the smoke. There's the call. It looks like they're going to get a kill on True God. Oh, the Cunning Blade is wasted a little bit early, and it's Davide who in the end gets the kill. And then an immediate call from True to... I think that was a call from True to attack bottom, and a call from Davide to defend it. No, call from True to attack bottom because Dire are going to stick on their top lane and push like there is no tomorrow. That call actually came out from Kick. I'm wondering if Kick is actually doing the in-game call here. Kick, of course, is the he's a contender, he's a challenger in this King of the Hill match. He picked Davide to draft for him in-game, which is a great way of racking up some points if you're not too familiar with drafting, but want to give it a go anyway. But increasingly, looking at the pings and stuff, I'm wondering if Kick is actually doing the in-game calls. That would make more sense to me as well. Axe is an initiator. Terrorblade is a fairly active, but still just a safe lane farmer. I'd be more comfortable on a team generally if the Axe was doing the Radiant did look like they wanted to push this T2, but obviously they're going to have to come back and defend their barracks here. I'm kind of suspicious about the call not to have Shadowman here. Like, I don't think they realize quite how quickly Dire are going to push, and Dire actually decide they want to go for kills with another beautiful blink call onto iTrueGod. Unfortunately, Skyfaller with a very nice charge going to force the Dire team back, and Invoker's going to make it out on very low health. Skyfaller does look like he's going to sacrifice himself for the team, although such tank on the Spirit Breaker. What's he picked up there? Just an urn and a shield? I keep forgetting we're only 17.5 minutes in. Beautiful Sunstrike coming out, gonna do damage, but to the wrong hero, unfortunately. Kaz's gonna be able to almost TP out, stopped by a Nightmare. But that is a tier 3 down, as the incessant Terrorblade push is just unbeatable here. Very nice cast coming out, and Invoker finishing off the Winter Wyvern. Davide wants his team to just get this melee racks, and then it'll all have been worth it, even if they wipe. Kickapew with a very nice blink there to try and bring down the team. I think Dire made a bit of an error there. They either needed to follow the axe straight in or stay focused on the rats. They kind of split focus there just for a second. They should have let the axe go in, initiate, and give them space. They didn't. Oh, they're being greedy. They want damage on the ranged racks as well. What is Shadow Man doing? He's really determined to take this tower, but he could have turned that entire fight for his team. He still could if he comes in now, in fairness, but they've already lost a melee racks. Skyfaller with a very bold TP, which Dire seemed just very, very willing to turn on. Looks like the Spirit Breaker died, but so did the Dazzle. Crucifixion, though, looking like he might make this more than an even trade for Dire. David, he desperately wanting to kill Gimli, picking it up with the static field, and that's the space that Dire need to finish off this entire top lane of racks. Shadow Man, where art thou? He had to walk all the way back to the side shot for a TP. That is not good looking, friend. That is not good looking at all. Checking out the mid lane, Razor looking to keep this pushed out for his team. Of course, there's two classic choices here for Dire. They can try and push another lane, but it does look like Radiant are finally going to be ready to defend their base. Looks like they also kind of want to reset, in which case their natural move now would be to de-ward this Radiant Observer and then take Roche, while the lanes are all pushed in and relying on the super creeps they've now got on the top lane to maintain their pressure. Davide, of course, looking very low. They may choose to just reset. If he could find a nice passive Radiant hero to pop his ult on Sunder, although it does have another 50 seconds of cooldown, so possibly not. Looks like they want to be greedy though and go for this Roche, even with Davide looking very, very low. Oh, and a regen pops at the most opportune time. It's a shame no one took that arcane, but my gosh, have you ever seen someone quite so lucky? So this, I think, is going to be a free Roche for Dire. They were, of course, spotted out by the Radiant Observer. Not much they can do about that, but Radiant are choosing not to engage. True hoping to pick off another T1 up on the top lane, but they know they wouldn't be able to get there in time. Courier from Dire is delivering an item. Doesn't look like they need it to hang around, but we pick up the Aegis. I guess it's going to be Terrorblade. Wait a second. No, there wasn't. I thought David might have dropped an item on there to carry back to stash, which would have impressed me. But he did not, which does not impress me. Gimli starting off the wave push for his team. Dire need to get organized though. Kazadai Eidos looking for a pick-off over in the jungle. That's how you end up crying, friends. They've already got wards up here, so we can get a quick D-ward down. But had Radiant had slightly more heroes over on the mid lane, I think he would have got picked off there, which would have meant this whole push from Dire would have been slightly riskier. Not a great look. Dire though, all their ults are ready. They are absolutely ready to defend this. Dire are going to be aggressive. Skyfaller with the first next bomb of the game. Oh, he pulls out of it for some reason. The Witch Doctor ult is popped and Dire just back out. Kind of think that was a bit of a mistake there from Skyfaller. It would have been a very bold charge. He may well have died, but that's kind of the point where when you've got Invoker ready and Witch Doctor ready, you need to just go. Dire though making the very unusual choice to back out when Witch Doctor ult is down. Can't say I agree to that. I absolutely disagree, in fact. What are you thinking, guys? Witch Doctor ult is huge, and I appreciate they might not feel confident, but like, ooh, iffy. Oh, and there's a fight going up on top as the Aegis is popped here. Terrorblade taken down. Did he pop Sunder? He did not, so he's going to be looking to do that on Shadow Man in just a moment. There it is. The ult was popped at a very nice time there from Skyfall. He is going to be looking for another charge, but Winter Wyvern's coming in. Oh, David, he choosing to go aggressive here. Doing his work. Gimli coming in as well. Kick with a double Culling Blade, and True Blade, True Blade now looking to get out and away from this axe. He was just waiting for a blink call. Call's going to be up in 1 second. Kick needs a bit more axe movement. Yep, he gets it. And True God. Oh, another early Culling Blade on Kick. He only seems to do that now against True, which is a little curious. But c'est la vie. Alright. So it looks like Dire now want to group up and push on this mid. Let's have a quick look at the buyback status. No buyback on Invoker. No buyback on Lifestealer, and this is looking like a very, very good time for Dire to be pushing. With the mid T1 almost already on about half health. And I think I'm going to follow Kick here. in terms of camera. But I'm pretty sure there's going to be some pretty crucial blinks. We do have a charge coming in on Brack, and it's an Infest charge. It lands. There's the Infest damage coming out. Skyfaller choosing to keep on initiating. Shadowman actually backing out here, which is probably not a good plan. The Witch Doctor ult is down as well. Nice Shadow Grave there, keeping the Dazzle alive. Witch Doctor does manage to take out Terrorblade, and there's a Fiend's Grip down on Kickapew and a Sunstrike, which almost finishes him off. They really want this kill. Unfortunately, Crucifixion going to be picked off by Gimli, who now has the space he needs. Kickapew at the same time does manage to get the distance he needs to keep safe. True God looking to re-engage here. Perfect group up. Oh, I think he should have tornadoed up that up those stairs speculatively. He would have caught them both. So Dire, they're managing to go 2 for 1, although they did lose their Terrorblade. More importantly, managing to take the mid-tier 3 down to just a sliver of health.
Don't mind if I do.
Of course, the Aegis is down for at least another, what's that, 5 minutes? 5.5 minutes? Kaz looking to farm up the jungle, I guess. He needs to finish off some boots. Let's have a look at how item progression is going across the teams as we watch Shadowman farm. So it looks like Skyfaller going a build I very much appreciate with the Earnest Shadows and the Treads. That's a nice build on Spirit Breaker. Going for the Chainmail, a little bit more skeptical of that. He should really be going Echo Saber at this stage, and I've got a horrible feeling he's going for Blade Mail. Although Blade Mail might make more sense against the Dazzle. Bane on the K-Drummer has managed to pick up Arcane Boots and the 4 staff to initiate that he really wants. Crucifixion still struggling to catch up and find Mech 24 minutes into the game. That's not really where you want to be. Shadowman's managed to get his, we can see it here, his Phase Boots, his Armlet and his Echo Saber has 1,200 in the bank. Probably not where he wants to be either, to be perfectly honest. And finally, True God, much healthier of course, with a Hand of Midas to back him up, with an Aghanim Scepter and a Boot to Travel. Over on the Dire, as we, let's hop over to Davide. Davide is looking very comfy with a Dragon Lance, but really quite far, I would say. Is he really not behind Shadowman? No, he's ahead of Shadowman. I don't see where the value's coming, if I'm honest. I mean, yeah, it's a full Dragon Lance, but curious. Shadowman not too far behind, I guess, but what am I missing? Huh, I'm missing something, or underappreciating some item. Is there a... Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah, thank you. 2 Ultima Orbs in the Courier as he almost finishes his Scatty. Because there was nothing in stash. I was like, there's something. There's a something. Big push here coming out from Radiant. They look like they... Oop. I was going to say want to push, but they're still not certain. Roche won't be up. So I think it was a bit of a mistake from them to group this many heroes into one position. Got a scan coming out from Radiant, I believe. Why are we looking at the Courier Grumble? That's atrocious. And looks like we're going to be given another minute to have a quick look at items over on the Dire. Axe looking very happy with Ags, Blink, Blade Mail. I'm assuming he'll be going for an HP item next. Oh, he just sold... Oh no, put down his Tranquil, sorry. Gimli, Sanjin Yasha, Mech, going to be going for a BKB next. In fact, he's almost there. Only about 600, 500 gold off. Kaz, a lot more mobility items now as he's picked up a Blink. Davide, as we mentioned before, and Brack with the Ether Lens and the Arcane Boots. And the Scotty gets finished off on Dave. That's very nice. I'm not 100% on Ether Lens on Dazzle. Maybe someone will leave a comment telling me why I'm horrifically wrong, but I don't see that. It wouldn't increase... Let me think. Yeah, I don't think it would increase the diameter of weave, which might be a useful use for it. It would increase the cast range, which would mean it could be cast at a longer distance over the same area. I guess Shadow Wave, it might be really useful, but that seems an odd choice. Yeah, that's actually a really odd choice. I think the Dazzle should have gone... I was about to say Medallion. He's already got the Medallion. Okay, I'm being too picky. Maybe a Glimmer. Something to help someone get out of right clicks during Fiend's Grip, or just the Witch Doctor ult, or Open Wounds or something. Could have been really nice. Not sold on Ether Lens Dazzle, but I might be missing something. Shadowman getting his farm on. No new items in a while though for him. He's picked up the Mithril Hammer, and I believe the current metagame build involves a Desolator. so I assume that's what he's picking up next, and then it'll be an AC. Invoker, meanwhile, no item progression since we last saw, but he does have 2k in the bank. Looks like Dire are now grouping up for a smoke. Yeah, that was the ping on behind the tier 2, which means we're smoking now, guys. Let's have a quick look at how quickly they group up. Who are we missing? Who do we point out and make fun at? And it's Kaz, who's going to have to hang at the back. Not too bad, I guess, on a Winter Wyvern when you've got an axe on the team, but not great either. And Kick seems pretty eager to lead the charge up to iTrueGod up on the top lane, but I could have told him this. He's got more game sense than that, and he'll be out by the time you get there. True's cutoff point for anybody interested is generally about here, when the lanes are in this kind of position around the middle, and he's unlikely to go further than that before just nipping into the side shop and going for a nice TP out in the tree coverage there. The Dire smoke is still active, unfortunately just lost while under a Radiant Observer, and it looks like Radiant want to use that to counter-initiate. Do we have a... Yes, we do have an Infest Rage. Looks like they're going to hold the Infest until the rest of the Dire team come in. Very smart, and we do see the Infest come out. This is huge. Beautiful Tornado. There's going to be a great EMP as well. BKB is popped on Gimli though, and now we see, after Radiant did a very nice initiation, where the Dire are far enough ahead. Shadowman is Fiend's Grip. Wait, what? Shadowman can't be Fiend's Grip. Shadowman fell though, so did Davey. Kickapew just manages to make it out ahead of the cask. So actually only, it's 3 for 2 in favor of Dire. Sorry, what was the... It really looked like Fiend's Grip was going down on Lifestealer, but that is impossible, so I'm assuming it was the Winter Wyvern ult. Very nicely played either way. That was really a battle of the cooldown there, because of course Davey was forced into the position where he could not use Sunder, which is still off cooldown. And that will have been the Fiend's Grip, I think. So I definitely heard the animation as well. That's what made me think it was. So yeah, Davey got Fiend's Gripped. Beautiful call as well on the Lifestealer, I think, to initiate, followed up by the Winter Wyvern ult. And that leaves us in a in an interesting position. Radiant are forced back, but Dire won the fight overall. Let's have a look at Gimli as he farms up, still under the cover of an Invis rune, and have another look at the XP. So it's about 7.5 XP in favor of Dire. 30 minutes into the game, that's honestly hardly a lead at all, and I think we really saw in that last fight that this can turn. You know, if Dire had one less hero in the immediate area, or one less ult off cooldown even, that fight would have gone massively in favor of Radiant, regardless of it being 14-22. And over on the gold, much more significant lead, about 10,000, and that did play a major role in that last fight, as Gimli did have his BKB up, etc. Radiant really do want to go on this raid. They needed to be a bit more aggressive on it. If they go now, they'll run into the rest of these Dire heroes who are coming in to support. Although there is a very nice Dire obs here that they would have had a bit of a hard time avoiding. There is a Radiant one as well. They need to do something really to make that show up better on the minimap. Like if there are two obs so close that they kind of clash in the same space, you need to have the icon show up half-half or something. Dire looking very happy to be pushing bot here, but Radiant kind of want to be fighting this in the jungle, apparently. I'm not entirely sure they're right there. They need to get the hell out. These nice Radiant off. True, get out, my friend. What are you doing? You are so in range of a blink call from Kickapew, who finally gets a Culling Blade off on Invoker. The one he's been waiting for all game. Static field. Ooh, not quite long enough. They do manage to get another pick off on the Witch Doctor though, and they are chasing hard up on the top lane. The ult goes down on K-Drummer, which of course causes Skyfaller to attack him, and they're both effectively locked down for quite a long time. They're going to try and backdoor this tower. They need a little bit more damage. There it is. Don't try and backdoor the racks though, guys. That's just silly. Yeah, just silly. Oh, you glyphed Radiant. What were you thinking? Yeah, that was a silly glyph, I think. The creeps were a bit too far out to be worthwhile. Shadowman is raging on in here, going hard on the Brack, going to try and take that Dazzle out of the fight, or at least force the Grave out. The Grave is used early, and Bane is, unfortunately, Bane is also finished off, and this is getting more and more convincing for Dire by the day, as Lifestealer loses another life, Spirit Breaker loses another life, and Crucifix, and the last one left on the board, is finally finished off by, again, another nice static field. We've got to give Gimli some post-match kudos for that. Meanwhile, big rotation down onto the bottom lane, and I think this is going to be mega creeps for Dire. We do have a buyback from Spirit Breaker. Invoker is up, like maybe, but I think they know this is over now. True gets called again, and finally another Culling Blade for Axe. He's finally got the trigger doing it to Invoker. looking much healthier. And Skyfaller desperately trying to make it into the fountain. It looks like he's going to make it. Davey without the damage he needs. And GG, well played, called by both True and Kick, the captains, plural, of the Radiant. And that looks like a really good game. Really good game of Dota 2. That was a pleasure to cast. And it's actually going to be quite nice now, after 33 minutes plus a draft, to take a breath. My gosh. Whew, that was a big one. Really well played there, guys. I think I'm going to have to give man of the match to, of course, the king, Kickapew on the axe. Played really well with the initiations there. Only 2 deaths, 10 kills. If you liked it, please do stay tuned next week as well. We'll be done for this week with King of the Hill. Done for the stream. Thanks very much for tuning in. Please do like, follow, and subscribe. Leave a comment if you've got any suggestions. And of course, message me if you're interested in taking part, as this is absolutely open to the public, and there is a rare up for grabs every week and an immortal at the end of the season. So thank you everybody for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. This is Grumbleduke. Follow, subscribe, and like, and I will see you next time. Bye.